Good afternoon, everyone. We're on the record in the Colorado Public Utilities Commission, proceeding number 23A-0585E. My name is Aviv Segev. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to this proceeding. It is now 4 p.m. on July 11th, 2024. This public comment hearing was scheduled by interim decision number R24-0319-I and R24-0433-I, dated May 9th, 2024 and June 21st, 2024, respectively. I scheduled this as well as another in-person public comment hearing. The in-person public comment hearing was held 2 days ago in the city of Craig to allow members of the public to provide comments regarding the application filed by Tri-State Generation and Transmission Association Incorporated, or Tri-State, requesting commission approval of its 2023 Electric Resource Plan, or ERP. As those who follow this proceeding probably already know, on June 27th, 2024, Tri-State filed its comprehensive settlement agreement in this matter and a motion seeking approval of the settlement agreement. The filing of the settlement agreement changed the focus of the public comment hearing in this matter from the application filed by Tri-State to the terms of the settlement agreement. I want to welcome whoever is in attendance and whoever might still join us for participating in this public comment hearing. To give you a little bit of background about Tri-State's ERP. This is a phase 1 ERP proceeding that Tri-State initiated on December 1st, 2023. Generally, in a phase 1 ERP case, the commission reviews the utility's proposed resource acquisition period, the annual electric demand and energy forecast for the utility, and the utility's assessment of its existing transmission resources, planning reserve margins, and contingency plans for the acquisition of additional resources and the need for additional resources. In simplified terms, an ERP is the process by which the electric utility selects the mix of electricity generating resources that it will use and acquire to serve the electrical needs of its customers in the upcoming years. As I mentioned earlier, on June 27, 2024, Tri-State filed its comprehensive settlement agreement in this matter, and a request for approval of the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement is the primary focus of this hearing today. The settlement agreement includes, among other important terms, the following commitments by Tri-State: contributing $5.5 million annually from 2026 through 2029 for a total of $22 million into an economic development fund administered by Moffett County and the city of Craig to lessen the impact of the January 1st, 2028 closure of the Craig Unit 3 coal plant, paying up to $48 million in backstop funding to help offset tax revenue between 2028 and 2038. According to the settlement agreement, the backstop contribution could reduce the property tax revenue, could be reduced by the property tax revenue attributable to certain business to be conducted by Tri-State in Moffett County or by state aid received by Moffett County or the city of Craig. Another set of terms relating to the commitments by Tri-State include modifying phase 2 bid security and refundability requirements, expanding the scope of the phase 2 request for proposals, and updating certain non-price factor bid evaluation criteria. And the last set of terms that I will cover is transferring to Moffett County certain water rights at no cost to the county. With respect to how to submit public comments, both today and generally. In general, in interim decision setting the public comment hearing, I stated that you can provide written or oral comments. Both will be given the same weight. The Commission does not give any greater weight to oral or written comments. However, the Commission prefers written comments because many of us tend to be clearer and more persuasive in our written communications as opposed to our oral communications. Written comments. There are several options for submitting public comments in this proceeding. I will, of course, review every comment that is submitted, regardless of how it's submitted. If you prefer to submit a written comment, you may do so in one of the following ways. You can do so by email, by emailing dora_puc_website@state.co.us. That address is available on the Public Utilities Commission's website, which is available at puc.colorado.gov. The next method by which you can submit a written comment is through the PUC's website. The website address again is puc.colorado.gov. You should just scroll down until you see a box labeled file a comment or complaint. Fill out the form, and when applicable, select or put in this proceeding number, which is 23A-0585E. The third method by which you can submit a written comment is U.S. mail. You can mail your comment to 1560 Broadway, Suite 250, Denver, Colorado 80202. That address is also available on the Public Utility Commission's website. With respect to voicemail messages, you may also leave a verbal comment in English or Spanish by calling 303-869-3490. That phone number again is available on the Public Utilities Commission's website. With respect to all of these options, please make sure you identify the proceeding number, which again is 23A-0585E, so that the comments will be properly filed and I will be able to review them. With respect to what you can expect from this remote public comment hearing, I would ask that you please change your Zoom name, if you haven't already done so, to your name, so that it will be easier for me to call on you, and it will make for an easier record. Use your raise your hand feature signal if you wish to speak. To do so, click on the bottom portion of the Zoom session screen on the raise your hand button. If you no longer wish to make it, if you've either selected raise your hand by mistake, or you no longer wish to submit a comment, you can unraise your hand using the same process. To those participating in this hearing by phone, which I'm not sure we have any such participants, but I'll go over that for the sake of those who may be viewing the webcast and considering joining us. You can you will need to dial *9 to raise your hand, to use the raise your hand feature, and you will need to press *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. When I call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number, you should unmute yourself, and if you're connected via the Zoom video conference, you should start your video. I would ask that you avoid speaking over one another. When you begin a comment, I would ask that you state your first and last name. If somebody covers all of the points you intended to include in your comments, please feel free during your comments to state that you agree with the points made by that person. When you speak, please remember that the court reporter is transcribing everything that is being said. Please speak slowly and clearly, and if you don't do so, I may interrupt you and ask you to repeat yourself or slow down. This is the Commission hearing welcoming comments from all members of the public. You will hear comments you may agree with, as well as those you may not agree with. I ask everyone to be respectful. If someone covers, well, I think I've already stated that if somebody covers all the points you intended on covering, you may simply say that you agree with that person. With respect to the order of the comments, there's no particular order other than the one that appears on my screen. If I call on you, you're welcome to start your comment or tell me that you do not wish to submit a comment today. Let's please begin with the public. This is a life-threatening situation. Please dial emergency services. Apologize for that. Let's please begin with the comments. The first person who appears on my screen, though it keeps changing, but since your video is on and you appear to be ready, Ms. Macy's?
Yes, thank you. Sonia Macy's, Routt County Commissioner. I am here today to show Routt County's strong support of Moffat County's settlement agreement with Tri-State. We are particularly focused on the community assistance portion of the settlement. Moffat County, of course, is our neighboring county, and we recognize the loss of property tax revenues and jobs that will significantly impact Moffat County and its municipalities. It's an estimated 44 to 40% of their property tax revenue will be lost. And we want to express our strong support for Tri-State helping to find some of that replacement revenue. Some of the services that will be impacted by the loss of revenue from the closure of the plant include the municipalities, water districts, the schools, river districts, and other taxing districts that are providing needed services to these communities. I'm aware that the PUC heard from Moffat County earlier in the week, and also the mayor of Craig, who has been part of the fire district. And so we just want to make sure that this commission recognizes how important it is to have some replacement revenue in the form of direct pay and in the form of backfill. We believe really strongly in the idea that these funds will contribute positively to economic development. So we are supportive of these direct payments. In addition, Moffat County recently was subject to overappropriation of the Yampa River, which has the capacity to significantly curtail their capacity to develop as they see appropriate. And we really believe in local control and self-determination. We have expressed our strong support of their augmentation plan that will allow them to provide augmentation water to those needing to develop their parcels who have been impacted by overappropriation. So we see this commitment of the water rights of the Craig plant as a very, very positive step forward in Moffat County's capacity to control its future. Lastly, in closing, I would just like to suggest that while it is wonderful that Tri-State and Moffat County, the city of Craig, have reached this agreement, it's important to recognize that Xcel Energy still does possess some ownership in the Craig station, and therefore we would urge the commission to look favorably upon a similar settlement with Xcel and Moffat County and Craig. Routt County, of course, will be in a similar position with Xcel closing a power plant in the Hayden area, which is located in Routt County, but we will comment on that as that comes up. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Mays. Ms. Phoebus? You may start your comment.
Hello.
State your name, tell us on behalf of whom you are appearing, if it's anybody other than yourself, and proceed with your comment.
Yeah. My name is Elizabeth Phoebus. I am the community organizer for Cleaner Pueblo, which is a project of Mothers Out Front, which is an environmental justice organization mobilizing for a livable climate for all children. I live in Pueblo, Colorado, and the situation in Craig and Moffat County is very similar to that of Pueblo in our transition away from our coal plant. I would first like to say that it is absolutely crucial that we do not move forward with any false solutions, such as new gas plants with carbon capture. The sequestration sites require pipelines that carry the carbon from the source, which requires ripping up the land and comes with potential leaks that threaten the land as well as the groundwater and surface water. I would assume that Craig and Pueblo have similar perspectives on this, that we're all sick of being sacrificed to industry, and our environment and our health continues to be put at risk. And the carbon capture process requires energy, which currently requires burning fossil fuels. Often carbon capture facilities generate more carbon than they capture. And part of the carbon storage process includes deep injection wells into the underground layers, which can be disrupted by the drilling process. And depending on the local geology, carbon capture can also increase seismic activity. And if you want carbon sequestration, I would suggest protecting biodiversity first and figuring out how to make sure that you're going to protect that from end to end in your operation with renewables. We can do this. We can absolutely use renewables, and we just have to do it right. And I think that tri-state financial investment can absolutely make this possible. And if you'll just allow me to elaborate for a moment on what I mean about when we have to do it right. So cobalt is a key mineral in renewable energy, and the world's largest deposit is currently in the Congo, which is also home to the world's largest rainforest, the second largest rainforest, which is monumentally crucial for carbon sequestration. So if you see what I'm saying here, we have to be careful, and we have to really only use what we need. Large-scale renewables are not sustainable, and we live in an infinite growth economy on a planet with finite resources. And if we continue to destroy the Congo and other countries in the global community and our own for these resources for green energy, we are quite literally digging our own graves. There is no amount of renewable energy that will be able to keep up with our current rates of consumption and production. Meanwhile, the ecological damage further prevents us from cooling the planet. That's a lot to think about, right? So something our team is looking at here in Pueblo is diversifying our renewables to lessen the needs and therefore the impacts of the extraction of minerals. We're looking into microgrids, which have less environmental impact locally and globally. And we need investment in energy storage and tech recycling. And I'm speaking for Craig and Moffat County as well. We need infrastructure improvement so homes need less energy to regulate temperatures. We can't just replace fossil fuels. We have to change our relationship with consumption and production. All of this improves our relationship with the biosphere, giving it an opportunity to heal. Thank you for letting me speak.
You're welcome. Just a quick question. So given the carbon capture situation, you would be against, is it correct that you would be against the settlement agreement?
I'm just against carbon capture. I think that the funding of Tri-State Energy would absolutely help in the transition to renewables, but I think that we need to move away from a gas plant with carbon capture and towards a more sustainable, diverse, ecologically healthy option.
So the gas related terms in the settlement agreement, those are the ones you do not agree with, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment. I do not have any more questions for you. Thank you very much. Ms. Goff.
Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Goff, and I'm North Glen City Council member and past president of Colorado Communities for Climate Action. CC4CA is a coalition of 43 cities, counties, and towns advocating for effective climate policy and climate equity. I appreciate this opportunity to speak today on behalf of CC4CA members. In January 2021, Colorado released its first greenhouse gas pollution reduction roadmap. This document outlines an achievable pathway to meet the state's science-based climate targets of 26% by 2025, 50% by 2030, and 90% by 2050 from the 2005 levels. Last year, the legislature added ambitious but important interim targets and updated the 2050 target to a 100% emissions reduction. I appreciate that this draft resource plan will help the state achieve those goals. It's no secret that global temperatures have been breaking records for an astonishing 13 consecutive months. We have now hit 13 straight months that the world has been more than 1.5 degrees Celsius hotter than pre-industrial levels. We cannot become complacent to these alarming statistics. It's not just future generations that rely on us to act quickly to address the climate crisis. Right now, we are experiencing unprecedented heat, wildfires, drought, floods, and other increased climate-related illnesses that hurt our vulnerable populations the most. According to the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, electricity generation is the second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the state. Fortunately, Colorado leaders are taking climate change seriously. I'm very pleased with Tri-State's response to the state's emission reduction plans that propose ambitious yet achievable goals for reducing emissions from the state's second largest utility. This is important because Tri-State provides electricity to so many of Colorado's rural communities via small member co-ops. This draft resource plan, if adopted, will effectively reduce these dangerous emissions. I hope the PUC will adopt this plan, and I look forward to Tri-State implementing it. I also want to encourage the PUC to approve the settlement agreement between Tri-State, local governments, and other parties. This agreement will help the people of Craig and Moffat County with the difficult transition away from reliance on the Craig coal plant that has been vital to the economy of the region. That parties with such diverse interests could come to agreement on this settlement is a great achievement. It's a model for future negotiations. Thank you for accepting public comments.
Thank you very much for your comment. Mr. Delaney.
Hello, my name is Jeff Delaney. I'm in Crested Butte, Colorado, and I represent myself and GVC3, a local climate change activist group. I would like to thank Tri-State G&T for their past efforts to begin the decarbonization of their electric grid. I want to also thank the Colorado PUC for their administration of this and the 2020 ERP process. I'm a concerned citizen, a parent and grandfather, and I'm also a member of GCA, one of the rural electric associations served by Tri-State. Climate change is not going away unless we act swiftly and boldly. Transforming our electric grid from fossil fuels to renewable energy is an integral component to decarbonize Colorado and Tri-State's grid to thwart further climate catastrophe. Additionally, renewable energy is far more economic than fossil fuels in the generation of electricity. I would like to see Tri-State continue to retire fossil fuel generated electrical plants and replace these with renewable energy resources such as wind and solar. I would like to see Tri-State do the right thing with its retired workforce with a just transition to new careers in renewable energy, high-tech vocations, and retraining to obtain new skills that will create other employment options. Additionally, I would like to urge the PUC commissioners to not include fossil gas fueled electrical peaking generation in Moffat County. Gas is notorious for its atmospheric leaks that occur from fracking to its distribution to end users. Fossil gas is a much more potent greenhouse gas than CO2 as well. Fossil gas is also a very volatile commodity and is quite unpredictable regarding its cost as a fuel to generate electricity. A gas plant would be financially risky and likely obsolete within a decade or so, considering technological advances. I would like to remind you that Tri-State exists to serve its members. Tri-State is a democratic organization and needs to honor the wishes of its members, such as myself. We are witnessing unprecedented warming in Colorado, sustained 25-year drought that has rendered historic economic and environmental costs. Massive forest fires have had enormous external costs as well. We have at our disposal economic and viable technologies to complete the transition away from fossil fuel generated electricity and the ability to leverage this transition with the electrification of our homes, businesses, industry, and transportation. Time is running out for our opportunity to avoid even greater human and economic costs. I want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to comment about the 2023 Electric Resource Plan of Tri-State.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. So along the same lines, you are not in favor of the portion of the settlement agreement which contemplates the establishment of a gas reliant energy facility.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment. Ms. Marone.
Hello, Judge Segev and members of the Colorado Public Utilities Commission. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Liza Marin. I am a Saguache County Commissioner, as well as the founder of the Saguache County Sustainable Environment and Economic Development Organization here in Saguache County. And I want to be clear, I'm testifying today as an individual. Most of my constituents here in Saguache County, as well as the 8,000 square mile San Luis Valley, get their electricity from the San Luis Valley Rural Electric Cooperative, which is a tri-state member co-op. In Saguache County, agriculture is the lifeblood of our community. We have 6,500 souls living and working in an area larger than the state of Rhode Island and very rich in natural resources. 70% of our county is federal lands for the enjoyment of everyone, with forestry, recreation, and tourism contributing greatly to our economy. This means that a clean, healthy environment is vitally important for the health of our community. A county that also lands in the top 100 counties in the nation for persistent poverty rates. Saguache is a Ute word for land of the blue sky people. We have some really old families here who go back generations. We love our way of life, but our local economy is fragile. And one aspect of Saguache County and the San Luis Valley is that we have abundant high altitude sunshine. We would love for our local co-op to rely more on solar energy done right and less on fossil fuels. With the rapid changes in the energy sector, it just makes economic and environmental sense. With Tri-State's draft resource plan, which I had the privilege of hearing from Lisa Tiffin, Tri-State Senior VP of Energy Management, at the annual meeting of the San Luis Valley Rural Electric Cooperative recently, the people of Saguache County are really encouraged that our power supplier is heeding the wishes of the ratepayer members by not only better utilizing renewable resources to power our homes and businesses, but also by transitioning to the most cost-effective sources of energy. Rural communities like ours want the same opportunity to benefit from the clean energy transition that more populated areas of the state have had access to for a long time. Tri-State's resource plan provides important opportunities for us to benefit from clean energy that the rest of the state already has access to. As a commissioner in a small county, I also appreciate that Tri-State and other parties have come together to agree on ways Tri-State can work with local communities as the Craig plant closes. So I really hope that the PUC will approve this agreement. Rural Electric Cooperative members appreciate the progress Tri-State has made just in the last few years to transition away from expensive fossil fuels towards affordable, clean energy in rural Colorado. And I encourage the PUC to support this resource plan. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Ms. Tucker.
Yep, you got it right. Thank you. I am Amy Tooker. I am from the west end of Montrose County. So we are also a Tier 1 coal-affected community. And I just wanted to say that I am in support of the community assistance part of this settlement. the community of Moffat County and Craig, will really be able to depend on that 70 million and leverage funds with that, to do significant projects within their community. And having the water rights from that will be a huge benefit, and they have a lot of opportunities to develop those into something that will bring economic development to their community. With that, I'm a little dismayed that that the Office of Just Transition did not include the west end of Montrose County into this settlement. All in all, our fire department and other local taxing districts lost 65% of our property taxes. In the beginning, we received a $50,000 benefit from Tri-State, and then later on a $500,000 benefit from Tri-State. So our community was the first to close down. We closed down in our mine in 2018 and our plant in 2019. 2 years, almost 2 years before the scheduled closure. So I am really supportive of this, but I am also really upset that my community was left out of this process and that we were not receiving any of the benefits that we should have. That's a big chunk of money for those communities to depend on, and our loss is still being felt here in the West End. We've worked really hard to diversify, but our local tax districts and our nonprofits are still suffering. And I just want to say that, yes, I'm in support of the community assistance for Moffat and Craig, but I am still upset that my community has been left behind once again, and that we are not getting the attention from the Office of Just Transition that we feel we deserve, with this settlement. We are mentioned very seldomly, but our community lost out a lot of money. So I would like to see that, 70 million expanded to the west end of Montrose County. I feel that, while we lost in 2019 and we felt the effects of our property taxes and have been for the last 4 years, that's something that the Craig and Moffat County have not lost out on yet. And so, we're seeing the effects of that, and we're really glad, for Craig and Moffat County, but at the same time, the West End has lost out a lot, and we feel like we are getting left behind in the mix, and we were not included in this settlement at all, and we should have been. But I am supportive of the community assistance that is being given to Craig and Moffat County. I'm just a little jealous.
Understood. Thank you very much for your comment.
You're welcome.
Mr. Frankie.
My name is Chad Frankie. I'm the president of Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. We're a general farm and ranch organization representing 15,000 farm and ranch families in Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico. These Farmers Union members receive their electricity, including myself, mostly from rural electric associations through their wholesale supplier, Tri-State Generation and Transmission. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on this electric resource plan. Farmers Union supports the Commission's approval of the settlement agreement that makes the plan even stronger. We commend Tri-State for entering into this agreement that will benefit rural communities where projects are situated, while stimulating local economies in rural Colorado by providing jobs, farmers and ranchers with lease and royalty payments, and tax revenue for local governments. The settlement agreement also accelerates the closure of Tri-State's coal plant in Craig to the end of 2027. To its credit, Tri-State has agreed to provide Craig and Moffat County with $70 million for economic redevelopment activities and lost property tax. Lost property taxes. Rural electric associations, as well as Tri-State itself, are member-owned cooperatives, many of which were started by Farmers Union members. Our grassroots policy developed and adopted by our members consistently supports responsible and sustainable steps towards renewable energy. We have members whose farm operations host solar and wind electric generation infrastructure. Tri-State's plan is ambitious on the generation side. It includes adding 1,250 megawatts of renewable energy and energy storage investments. The settlement agreement commits to spreading those projects across Tri-State's service territory, which coincides with our member territory. Some projects will depend on federal grants and loans that Tri-State was invited to apply for through the Inflation Reduction Act's New Era program. Rocky Mountain Farmers Union encouraged Rural Utility Service Administrator Andrew Burke in a letter last year to fully fund Tri-State's wish list for clean energy transition. Because of the huge economic upside for rural communities, we urge the PUC to be as aggressive as feasible in requiring Tri-State to expand its clean energy footprint across Colorado, regardless of what the final federal investment may be. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to comment, and we wish to support this settlement.
Thank you very much for your comment. Ms. Schuler.
Yes, hi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I
Schuyler. Thank you.
apologize, Mister.
Sorry, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Terry Schuyler, and I have a cold, excuse me. And I'm appearing here before you as a third-term town council member in Ridgway, Colorado. I'm also the former key accounts executive for San Miguel Power Association, which I'll refer to as SMPA for your clerk there, and currently consulting to them. I have worked in the solar industry for more than 45 years, including 9 years conducting research and development at both NREL and the Sandia National Labs. I'm now consulting to SMPA on the development of both facility scale and larger community scale solar storage microgrids for the rural communities out here in SMPA's territory. Through Colorado's Department of Local Area Affairs, we have been privileged to receive 4 planning grants and 2 construction grants for cutting-edge microgrid system implementation. Ridgway is a rural town on the western slope with a population of about 1,200 people. Our electric co-op, San Miguel Power, is in fact a Tri-State member. With my long and extensive background in solar energy and as an SMPA employee and member, I am familiar with and followed Tri-State's resource planning efforts for many years, and I have to say that I'm very pleased with this draft ERP. It's encouraging to see the move toward clean, affordable, reliable, renewable energy and away from expensive fossil fuels, as this has been the focus of my career. Electricity is the second largest contributor of greenhouse gas emissions in our state, so addressing emissions from this source will have a meaningful impact on planet warming emissions. Equally important, the ERP is mindful of the cost of energy for rural communities that Tri-State serves. Tri-State's coal plant closure in Nucla, in San Miguel Power's territory, a few years ago, delivered a crushing blow to Nucla on the west end of Montrose County. As a former uranium mining hub, these towns have had more than their fair share of economic boom-bust cycles, but the plant closure, as Ms. Tucker previously discussed, was perhaps the most devastating of all, certainly the most severe hit to the community in modern times. They will be struggling for a long time to make up for the lost jobs and revenues. It is very important that with the anticipated closure of the Craig plant, more precautions be taken to protect coal-reliant communities and set them up for successful futures in the new clean energy economy. That's why I'm pleased with the settlement agreement reached by Tri-State, local governments, and others that provide meaningful transition funds. Perhaps, as Ms. Tucker mentioned, the west end of Montrose may be reconsidered in this process. I also agree with the ERP's plan to distribute new clean energy projects throughout Tri-State service territory, which is the personal focus of my consulting now to SMPA, a Tri-State member. This will allow rural communities to share in the economic benefits. I hope Tri-State receives all the new ERA BIL money it applied for, but this ERP should be implemented regardless of their receipt of that funding. Finally, and previously mentioned by another speaker, while I don't think there is a place for gas-fired power plants in the new energy economy, I am encouraged that the settlement agreement requires modeling proving the economic viability of such a plant before it's built. Thank you for your time. I hope this plant settlement agreement will be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Schuyler. I appreciate the comment. Ms. That goes to everybody. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. If I do that, just correct me, and I'll do my best to get it right from that point on. Ms. Gauguin.
Cold, so it's very.
I'm sorry.
I'm not able to hear her.
Yeah, Ms. Gogan, if you could repeat what you just said.
No, no, can't hear me. Okay, I'll work on my sound and I'll check back in. I apologize.
It actually sounds better now. So if you want to try now, you're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay, I apologize. I also have a cold like Mr. Schuyler. So I think that might be part of the problem. Also the reason I'm not turning on my video. I look a little rough today. But anyway, my name is Elise Goggin. I'm just commenting as a tri-state co-op member. And I thank you for the opportunity to comment. As someone who lived just down the road from Craig and Hayden, I understand how critical this transition will be to the local community. I strongly support the transition to clean energy and believe that this current settlement agreement will help to ensure the people of Moffat County can continue to thrive. Following on to what Mr. Schuyler mentioned, it's my understanding that the plan includes a requirement to implement computer modeling to determine how to optimize generation resources. As a scientist, I know that a model is only as good as the information you put into it. So that being said, if it's not already spelled out in the plan, I believe it's in the best interest of the co-op members for the model calculations and variables to be transparent, and then if possible, verified by a neutral third party with expertise on the subject. I'm keeping it brief today due to my voice, so that's all I have, and I thank you for your time.
And again, just to be clear, you're in favor. Are you in favor of the settlement agreement?
I'm in favor of the settlement agreement. I just hope that the computer modeling is a transparent process when it's carried out. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cohen.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi there. My name is Jessica Cowan. I'm a resident of Montezuma County. I am, like all other speakers I have heard today, strongly in support of the settlement agreement. I'll keep my comments brief, but I grew up in Grand County, which is in the neighborhood, though not in Colorado. And when I was a kid, our uranium mine closed and so many people lost their work. So I just want to say that I know exactly what the west end of Montrose and Craig and Moffat County are going through. So I'm also strongly in support of the settlement agreement that will support Moffat County and allow it to thrive. Having said that, as a child, the parents of close friends passed away from uranium-related illness. I'm now a physician, and I have many patients on my panel in this region who have coal-related illness and malignancy, some of whom have died recently. And I strongly believe that moving away from carbon-based energy is in the best interests of our families and our health, not to mention our clean air and the energy transition. And so I guess what I wanted to end by saying is that this proposal that a gas-fired power plant help fill the void in the future doesn't make sense to me, because what Colorado needs now is clean energy that provides jobs locally. The gas-fired power plant isn't part of the energy transition that will help us take advantage of the new economy that is being born. So I would ideally like that plan to be removed from the settlement agreement. And if that is not possible, would entirely agree with the prior speaker's proposal that the modeling inputs be publicly available and that the model be publicly evaluated. I think we have broad public support for moving forward with clean energy, despite the pain that it causes to local communities. And I want to thank Tri-State for making sure that Moffat and Craig get what they need to make that transition in a way that minimizes the impact on families, but also supports the health of local families. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Ms. Gordon.
Hi there. Thank you for the opportunity to comment today. My name is Michaela Gordon, the Executive Director of West End Economic Development in the West End of Montrose County. I would like to say that I am agree with a lot of what Amy Tooker said prior. I am full support of the community assistance part of this plan. I think it's important as somebody that has physically helped the workers transition that lost jobs within our community and are now still trying to help our community recover from the property taxes lost. I think that 70 million is an okay amount for Craig and Moffat County to receive in retribution for this. I am, however, disappointed to see the West End only named once in this entire settlement process, and in regards to a gas plant. In our opinion, considering we've had very little communication with Tri-State about other energy options, this does feel a little like exploitation, considering we have just gone through another loss. And with gas already being on the chopping block within the state of Colorado, this is something that we would be having to recover from immediately, yet again, delivering yet another blow to the West End of Montrose County. If Tri-State were to look into more options for energy development, we would be happy to consider that. But it is disappointing to see that the West End is only named in this one instance in this entire plan. They're including also not being named in the community assistance portion, as Amy Tooker previously said. When we received so little community assistance ourselves, it does feel like another blow to our transition, but we are very grateful that Craig and Moffat County will be receiving the dollar amount that they will be to help their communities transition. Thank you again for the opportunity to comment today.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments. Would anybody else like to make a comment? If you do, just either start your video or raise your hand. Either one would work. And if you don't, that's all right. We will take a recess if that's the case. And seeing no video turned on or hands raised, we will take a recess until the earliest of either 5:15 or whenever I identify the next another individual who would like to speak joining the Zoom session. So we will be on recess until then. Again, if nobody joins between now and 5:15, it will be 5:15. If somebody joins, it will be earlier than that. So again, for now, thank you to all of those who made a public comment, and we'll take a recess and reconvene shortly. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes?
Oh, I didn't see my name on the screen, so I'm just verifying that Lisa Rozentowski is still in the queue to speak.
Oh, well, your hand was not raised, and I cannot see you on the video. Nonetheless, you're welcome to start your comment. So we're not on recess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's not a problem at all. When you're ready, just state your name and tell us who you're representing. If it's anybody other than yourself, then begin your comment, please.
Okay, thank you, and I promise I won't put anybody to sleep. My name is Lisa Rozentowski. I'm with Routt County Republicans, and I'm probably a minority in this group. I've been in the utility industry for over 30 years, and I do not support the agreement and the closing of coal plants. I know there's a lot of speculation about coal and its impacts, but there's also a lot of information about solar, wind, and other renewable energy. Coal is a baseload unit. If you get rid of baseload units, you're not going to have 24/7 reliable power. Renewable has been shown to do that. Solar fields have been decimated by hail, and the mining for battery storage has been detrimental. I've heard someone brought up the Congo. Yeah, that's been really bad. So we are not in support of it. $70 million is a spit in the ocean for economic development for a plant that's provided, about 20 years of prosperity to an area. I think transitioning is good. I think renewables play a role, but they do not replace baseload unit. And that's going to be a challenge, and economic development is going to be a challenge going forward. So as the minority opinion, I would say that we are not in support, and transitioning to coal. Transitioning from coal needs to be more deliberate for base load. And natural gas units have typically been peak load units. They have not been base load units. Turning them into a base load unit does have consequences too. But that's my feedback, and I appreciate the few minutes I got to give my dissenting opinion.
Thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate it. I do not have any more questions. Would anybody else, even including some of the same people, would anybody else like to make a public comment? All right, now that I do not see any individuals with their video turned on or that are raising their hand, we will take a recess until 5:20 or until the next commenter who wishes to submit a comment joins this Zoom session. So we're on recess starting now, and we will reconvene shortly. Thank you. We are back on the record in proceeding number 23A-0585E. Just a moment ago, I saw somebody join this, the Zoom session. Mr. Frankowski,
Yes, I'm on.
would you like to submit a public comment?
Yes, if you don't mind. And
I-
I'm happy to wait in the queue if others are in front of me.
No. So what happened when until you joined? Several people submitted their public comment, and we took a recess until just now. So you're first in the queue to speak if you wish.
Okay. Well, first, thank you, Judge Segev and the Commission for recognizing the importance of giving the public a voice in this proceeding. Resource planning dockets are highly technical, but in the end, it's families and businesses across rural Colorado that must deal with the outcomes that are decided here. The in-person comment session you scheduled in Craig on Tuesday recognizes the voices of the community that will be more impacted by Tri-State's resource plan than any other. And the virtual session you've scheduled here is equally important for the many co-op members outside of Craig and Moffat County who will also feel its effects. So again, thank you. My name is Eric Frankowski. I'm the director of an organization called the Western Clean Energy Campaign that has been monitoring and participating in a variety of activities related to Tri-State for almost 2 decades now. There are 2 angles to my comments, and I'll start with the positives since I think they far outweigh any negatives. I look back 10 years ago and 5 years ago, and it's hard to imagine that the Tri-State I knew was a party to an agreement such as the one filed in this ERP. That's a testament to the leadership at Tri-State and their recognition of both the necessity and the huge benefits of dramatically accelerating the pace of clean energy transition. With this agreement, Tri-State is making giant leaps forward, and they should be applauded for steering their ship directly into the clean energy current. The amount of clean energy being brought onto the Tri-State system, more than 1,000 megawatts in this agreement, puts the G&T on par and even at the front of the pack for Colorado power providers. We're already leading the nation in decarbonization. As Tri-State spreads the development of these projects across its service territory, it is going to bring tangible economic benefits to many rural communities that to date have really been stuck looking in from the outside as others reap the benefits of moving into wind, solar, and storage. The plan will help keep electricity affordable for Tri-State's members, and it will boldly cut carbon emissions, surpassing Colorado's already ambitious decarbonization targets. Tri-State should remain committed to following through on its preferred portfolio as aggressively as possible, regardless of whether it receives the generous federal grants and loans that it has applied for. Equally laudable is Tri-State's commitment to a just transition for Craig and Moffat County. Tri-State really did the right thing by committing to provide up to $70 million to the communities being impacted by the early closure of the Craig plant. Truly, hats off to Tri-State for the support. Now let me turn to the one concern I have with the settlement agreement, the continued inclusion of significant amounts of new gas capacity. If built, this very likely could saddle Tri-State customers, Tri-State member co-ops with hundreds of millions of dollars in debt for a plant that won't be able to compete with wind and solar if it is built. To the credit of the many intervening groups in this proceeding, I think there are strong guardrails in phase 2 that will allow a new gas plant only if it is undeniably necessary. In this sense, I strongly encourage the Commission to approve the agreement, but to remain vigilant during phase 2 to ensure that Tri-State does not put its thumb on the scales in ways that inaccurately lead to the conclusion that new gas is indeed needed. In conclusion, this agreement is truly historic for the progress it makes in allowing Tri-State and its member co-ops to move even more swiftly into clean energy, and its approval will have wide-ranging economic benefits for rural communities across Colorado. Thank you, Judge Segev, for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you very much for your comment, Mr. Frankowski. I appreciate it. Would anybody else like to make a comment? And if you do, you can raise your hand, turn on your video, or just let me know verbally. Seeing no videos turned on, hearing no requests to give a public comment or any hands raised, we will take another recess This one will be until 6 p.m. or until the next possible public commentary joins this Zoom session. So we're on recess starting now, again, until the earliest of 6 o'clock, or when the next individual who wishes to submit a comment joins this session. Thank you. We are back on the record in proceeding number 23A-0585E. It is now 6 p.m. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Hearing no responses, we will take our last recess until 6:30 or until a time at which somebody might join this session to submit a comment. And we will be on recess until then. Thank you very much. Excuse me, we're back on the record in proceeding number 23A-0585E. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Right. This brings the public comment hearing to a close. Again, thank you for the benefit of those who may still be listening to the webcast. Thank you for participating and submitting your comments. Members of the public can obtain additional information about this proceeding from the Commission's e-filing systems on the Commission's website. Simply search for proceeding number 23A-0585E on the Commission's e-filing systems, and it will show you every single filing that was made in this proceeding. Thank you all again. We are adjourned.